Welcome to Tekedia Daily. Today, I will be unveiling a video cast, which I will be your host. We will be discussing technology, entrepreneurship, innovation, education, and the different constructs of what are driving the industrial sector across the African continent. At the beginning of this year in my company, Fast Micro Group, we discussed how we will have a product like this. My team, we ended up saying that if towards the end of May, we see a very positive trajectory in our business, that one can maybe take 1 hour every day to have this kind of conversation, that I will do it. The day has been awesome for us. And I say, why not now? So let's get it started. A lot of things have happened in the African continent over the last few years. We are seeing innovators. We're seeing entrepreneurs bringing new perspectives, coming up with new business models to solve our local problems. The Tekedia Daily will be looking at some of these challenges, some of these solutions, and how people, how organizations and institutions, governments are trying to build that virtuous system that will surely help us to take most of our citizens out of poverty. I just finished a trip from Kenya where I visited Craft Silicon and opportunities of understanding what Nkopa is doing, Kenya Red Cross, Ushahidi, and some of these iconic Kenyan companies. Some of them are really very small, but the ideas they have, I can promise you, are not things you can take for granted. And you can see that dynamic evolutionary process that you expect that can actually crystallize or something great in the future, germinating and being planted across the African continent. See, from Kigali to Lagos, from Dhaka to Nairobi, Cape Town, even to Agadagu, you can have this optimism that when they say that Africa rising, that we can practically feel it, despite the fact that there are issues of currency deterioration, challenges of forex, of course, the commodity bust. But if you take an average and summary, the future looks very awesome. It's not because of what any person has done from outside the continent, or maybe because of funding from multinational institutions, or multinational international organizations, or government from other countries. Really because African innovators and entrepreneurs are taking charge of the future of their continent. I tell you something, in 1990s, before the legends that redesigned the banking sector in Nigeria took action, before the 1990s, I would say, the banking sector in Nigeria was really very terrible. But all of the time, just like that, they started a new generation, a banking ecosystem, transformed the sector, and brought it into a position where people can even discuss it, not just within the continent, but outside the continent. We saw in 1990 in Nigeria that they transformed the banking sector. In 2000, we saw something similar, but now in the telecommunications sector, with business icons from Zimbabwe, from South Africa, felt that their fellow citizens also have a right, and they deserve to communicate with their loved ones and friends and families and business people they do business with. They gave them mobile phones in their hands. In 2010, as you can see, this decade-long transitioning process taking shape as these entrepreneurs solve one industrial problem, and then when they finish solving that problem, they move to the next one. I'm expecting that as we move into 2020 and the decade beyond, agriculture will be a very key focus on some of the challenges that we have to fix Because when we fix agriculture in there, I believe that we are going to feed poverty. Because if 65% of our working population, they work in agriculture, it means that if we can improve productivity by a factor of 2 in the agricultural sector in our continent, we are going to see a catalytic impact in the lives of our citizens. And this is not going to come because any foreign aid has come. But it will happen because African innovators and entrepreneurs have suddenly taken interest in how our farmers are growing the crops and helping to tell the animals that we actually consume as food. I just had a very nice piece that was well received in Harvard Business Review about this, and I also ask you to check it. But the whole construct of the Tekedia Daily is to look at how productivity is going to help us to accelerate the well-being of our citizens. And I'm very confident that when we look at that, we will understand how we can improve, how this opportunity will bring a deeper conversation about what Africa can do at the level of the people, at the level of the process, and also at the level of technology. I know that we need to move and transition from a society of invention to a society of innovation, because Africa has remained an inventive society for long, with so many ideas but no products and services. But until we can move into an innovation society where we begin to solve problems in our society, our citizens will continue to have difficulties, as one of them are still trapped in a world of poverty. A generation can cure extreme hunger, and I'm confident that we will bring perspectives, we will bring insights, we will have conversations about some of these issues as we take topics in coming days and years on Tekedia Daily. The first podcast will be posted on Monday, 22nd of May, basically tomorrow, and it will come alive before 6:30 a.m. every morning on Lagos time. And I will be looking at the first one. Is going to be, in the beginning, computing. Basically, if technology is thriving and changing all the industrial sectors in the world, I want to understand, how did it all start? How did it start? How did it start? Who are the people playing the key roles? And what are the instruments that are driving all the changes that we are seeing? And how can Africa connect? How can we build? How can we redesign? How can we change? How can we build a new layer which we can build upon? And just even not us in our generation, but even people that are coming after us. There is a very virtuous system that I do believe that there is something positive that we can do in our time. The rise of Paga will come. The technology company, the fintech company in Lagos, how it has become a very vital innovation engine that is changing the landscape within the payment system in Nigeria. And Paga today, you can say, it's simple as better even some of the banks. How did he continue to redesign, pivot, change, and transmute itself? A company that started a mobile payment system, becoming at the center of payment in the country. And I also want to have a conversation to share with you the Elumelu way. This is one of the legendary businessmen in Africa. He's an icon who has built fundamental, very, very transformational business empire. How has he done this thing? What are the things that we can learn from this business legend? And I say this thing because he remains a man who led banking even before he was 33 years. You could imagine what it meant that a young man at the age of 33 many years ago could say, I want to start a bank. Would he? And he was able to do it. How did he do it? What really pushed him to do it? And what can we learn even in our time, as some of us are trying to become entrepreneurs, African entrepreneurs in the 21st century? I also want to have a conversation about Konga and Jumia. What are we seeing? What are their numbers? What are their challenges? Are they really going to be the people that take Africa to the Eldorado point of the e-commerce? Or are they just going to be the forerunners that will make a way for somebody else? We saw the end of Kalahari, and we saw some of the companies that came before them. Is e-commerce really an industry that really should put money in the continents? Are the infrastructural challenges things that have to be fixed? At Tekedia Daily, with Ndubuisi Ekekwe, we'll be having these conversations every morning, 6:30 a.m. Lagos time. I want you to visit tekedia.com/daily and learn how, why, who, and what driving the African business sector. Thank you very much for listening. And please, I want you to stay with us. Have a nice day. Bye-bye.